Well, what we're fixing today. Today we're at the cottage again. We're in the workroom of the cottage. And I have told you in the past, you know, the table saw that I have out here is the Saw of Death. Well, that was before I showed you the ultimate Saw of Death. The 2-foot one that I use for cutting firewood. This is the up-north Saw of Death. And I have decided to retire it because the sucker's making me nervous. There it is in the background over here. And we'll see. I'm gonna, like for the last time, show you why I think it's dangerous, as dangerous can be, and what I'm gonna replace it with, and we can, you know, deal with that. So, all right, let's go start taking this apart eye by eye. Well, here's the Saw of Death. As you can see, this is, I operate from on this side, and this is the height of the saw blade. And yes, that's the height of the saw blade. It's always the height of the saw blade. If I was to take a piece of wood, even a full 1 inch like this, and put it here to cut, I now have all this sticking up at me, ready to kill me. And yes, just to make sure everybody knows I'm safe, I have the power plug here. So if you're cutting there, or if you're using the crosscut, and cutting, your hand is right there, and it's huge. The safe way to cut is to make sure that this wood is just barely above, and then you only have this little ways that will help you cut, and also the swag, whatever you call it, the sawdust that comes off gets mostly thrown down below. As it is here, if something happens and something touches this, it's coming back at me, right? So, two things: blade too high causing amputation possibility, and throwing dust and throwing debris at me, especially at my junk, you know, bad. Okay. Number 2 problem is this is all rust. It works ish okay, but when I'm sliding something through, it wants to drag. This is all rust, and it's not a good rust. If I take a chisel to this, I could probably fix it, but I would have to come over here and, this is a wood chisel, but scratch it down to a lot and try to make this smooth. But there is so much stuff on here that ain't happening. Then, let me take off this fence, because it don't want to turn either. But then we get down to more brass tacks here. If I wanted to make any adjustments and do things with saw, it's possible to do some things. Come over here. This is the release. So I do a release. Now I can do stuff like this. Of course, when I do this, tips and it's going to hit the blade, but this will do that. I don't know why I want it to do that, but it will do that. If I come over here, let's see. Did I take this out? Yes. So I'm going to take the top off. It's just held on with a pin. The pin goes through some pipes that somebody made. This is handmade. This is a handmade hinge. This is a handmade thing. So this is with some top that somebody got from the garbage to try to make it work with this saw over, basically. Here's what we got. We got this power box I added. This is basically an outlet here with a switch, and I just plug this motor into it. Previously, you just plug this into the wall when you want it to go, and then you come back and turn it back on and do things with it. So very, very bad there. Here we got the saw over, and it's ish okay. However, it's just a saw over that's been welded on. We're gonna take this blade off. It's an 8-inch blade. If I look here, I find that I could actually, if I wanted to, adjust the height of this. But I would have to open this up like this, get in here, loosen this bolt. There is a adjuster. I don't know. It's all handmade and all very wonky and very scary, Saw of Death-ish in such ways. So what I'm going to do is continue stripping this out. I'm going to keep the motor. I'm going to keep the power. And the rest of this is just going to go home and become, I don't know. So I think this is going to go in my house as a plasma cutter thing. So that'll be that. Now that can go home. Alright, here's the replacement. It is a 10-inch blade. And don't worry, not plugged in. 10-inch blade. I can adjust the blade for height. I can adjust the blade for angle. Yep, angle's here. Height is here. It is a Sears. Let's stick it up on the table. See what we got. So now I got to bolt this down. What I got now is a table that is indented here. So that wood only touches like a third of the time. All right? I have a thing that I can sit in here, and I have a hole here where I can put a router. So I'll probably bring one of my routers up here in case I need that. That isn't an often thing, but it's a thing. I also have a safety guard. It has teeth for throwing, so stuff gets thrown. It doesn't kill you. This ends up going on here like this, line with the blade, and then as you push the wood through, it grabs it, so it can't kick back at you. A lot of times those will come off with saws, but I'm going to leave it on this one. I also have the crosscut and the fence, but shorter term than that, I need to bolt this to the bottom. So I'm going to start there. So let me show you these. So these 4 bolts. 2, 3, 4, and then that bolts the main frame here to the saw frame. Now still, if you look underneath here, there is danger, so don't ever reach underneath your saw if the saw is running. Bad deal. Now you look at this one, this is a direct drive, so I won't have the pulley hanging out the back. These are the adjustments for height, and then over there where you can't see is the adjustment to tilt it. So that's the guts of what's underneath, very simple. Cord is okay, it's unplugged. Power doesn't do anything. So first one, I got a Phillips. So if I'm going to want to change the blade, I'm going to need to take this out. Has to come up far enough to release this. what I wanted to do was raise this up all the way. Oh, that goes nice. Way easier than mine at home. When I do this, looks like it's running true. It doesn't look bent or anything. This I know is a 10-inch blade. And you can't see the writing on there, so I'm just going to hold this up here and make sure that that's the same size. So I know this is a 10-inch. This is a rip saw because the teeth are so big, 24 teeth. But this looks like I can't. Oh wait, that's not that. 10 inches, 10 inch. 60 teeth. So that's a nice blade for cutting both cross and rip. So unless I'm doing a lot of ripping, I'll put this one in, otherwise that could stay. So that's good. This was, of course, a $3 blade, in case I needed a spare. Now, let's try to square this up. You want to make sure your blade is square to your table. And as you can see, maybe you can't, but it's not even close. So it's not even close. I gotta crank it anyway. So let's see how the tilt works on it. We'll exercise the tilt. So I needed to cut a 45 on something, I could do it pretty easily. This saw works really nice. And if I didn't tell you, this is a $45 saw from Habitat for Humanity. So yay for Habitat. That's quite an angle there. I don't know what angle that is, but it's a pretty scary angle. But if I wanted to power it up, it's free and everything. So I made that work. My micrometer is pretty good, not perfect. Let's get a better square. Here's an oldie, probably 1940s. It's a beauty, eh? Let's take the scale out. Oh, there it is. That looks good too. Okay. That's where it needs to be. Let's put this back in. Of course, I gotta crank it down for that. Now I might have to find or make another one of these if I want to cut it at an angle. Oops. And it's down where it belongs. Let's look at this. This looks like it's missing something. And I'm sure there's times I'm going to want to take this off because it can be annoying. So I'm going to need well, no bigger than quarter, probably smaller, with a wing nut. So let's put this in here. Now, if it has to, this could go with the fence, apparently. I don't see a place to hold that down there, but okay. Now this keeps the saw safe from on top here when you're doing stuff. And you got a piece of wood that's coming through here, for instance. You can see that those dogs are going to grab it and not let it kick out and hit me in the nether region. think there's, actually there's set screws on here. Ah, so here's another problem. You have to make sure that the kerf on this lines up with the kerf on the blade, and it doesn't. So, I need to move this over. Ah, there's an Allen wrench hole in the middle. So if I want to tighten up on how tight this is on that bar, I have to tighten these Allens a little bit. Since I don't have an Allen, oh boy. So, when I bring up an Allen wrench, I'll have to tighten that up a little bit. I don't like the way this flops around. But I do need to get this lined up with that. Yeah, those are fine. They're fine. You know, kind of finger tight so that kind of holds where it's supposed to be. Ish. Now these have to be loosened. Piece of scrap. I can take a cut off of this and we can see if it's going to work for me. So I got it coming from the end. Right. Need something for a fence. Let's put this down. Yep. Well, let's leave it up so then you can see. You can see how these dogs work over here. All right. Powering it up for the first time. Power on. It's a nice blade. You have a really nice clean cut on the cedar. It's cedar, right? And for the crosscut, you want to try to make sure it's square as well, right? A good way is to take it over here and look at the edge of how it lines up. What was that? Look at the edge of how it lines up with the table, and it's not. So let's adjust that. Some tables, maybe on this one, you take it and put it upside down. Yeah. Well, that's pretty close. See how I did that? You put it upside down against the table, and you can check if it's good or not. So, here we go. I'm going to try a little cross-cutting. I forgot. I'll just set the saw height. Just over the top. Let's put our thing down this time. again. Kudos to the blade, but that's a nice blade. So, now when I want to do a little honeydew project up here, I have a saw that won't try to kill me. I have a guard. I have a kickback control. It does do adjustments, goes up and down. And also the best thing to do when you're all done with the saw, is you put this blade down. To there. And now you got a nice work table I can work on here. So for $45, saved it from the garbage at Habitat for Humanity. And I got a nice saw that won't try to kill me. Well, that's it for today's video. I now have a saw that won't try to kill me over here. Oh, and I come up north and work on stuff. And I do have a project in mind that I'm going to need a saw a little bit more for. So we'll see how that pans out. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Give me a like. Give me a like if you're glad that I won't lose fingers and lose thumbs, that I can point at you some more. And, you know, this is just a short couple days at the cottage. We have a event we have to go to for a family, so we're up here and we're going to be going like tomorrow. So this is probably the only video. Maybe there'll be one other one that'll happen up here while we're up here. But anyway, thanks for watching. And remember, next time you use a saw of death, throw it away. Make it into a plasma table. Bye.